Welcome, welcome, welcome. We waited a couple of minutes for people to join in. Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. Hello, welcome, and sorry for the abrupt ending of the very energizing music Enrique had chosen for us. Let's ease into this event. This is a very special moment for us, for all of us. The milestone in this process of participatory positioning on food systems that we've done together since December. We've had 6 events so far online, 7 events with this one. There's been great participation, and we are very happy as a team, and so is our editorial board. I'm very happy to present the draft recommendations for this food positioning process. I'm Laurence from the Ecolis policy team. I'm here with my colleague Caterina, who can wave now. She hears me to say hello. Also from the advocate team, and Henrique from our tech team supporting this process from the beginning, so we can be a bit innovative in terms of technology as well to support our participatory process. So this event is recorded. It will be the recording will be put online. So if you don't want to be recorded or seen, please shut off your camera, and you can change your name to something that's not you. There will be breakout rooms. Those won't be recorded. So that's for the house rules. And now let's start our event. Let's take a peek at the agenda. There are a number of people who haven't been here before, so we are going to present again our policy process, what we've done so far, how we've done it, why we've done it. After that, we present the key policy recommendations, which is new and we haven't presented yet to the public. This is the first time. And we'll close with the next steps. Caterina, would you like to introduce the Mentimeter?
Hello, you're having a wonderful day. Enrique will now open the Mentimeter, where we'd like to ask you one question. Like if you close your eyes and think of our food system as one garden, as it's just one little system that you can manage. What is it that it would need most right now? And Enrique, can you launch the Mentimeter? So if you see on the top right of Zoom, you can enter the Mentimeter and write your response. You can interact through the Zoom, Roxana. I don't know if that's okay. Does everyone have access to the Mentimeter? Perfect. I see water is pretty much needed in our gardens. Community support and care. And a lot of taking care of the soil, nourishment. helping hands. Gonna have a really nice garden today, I think. You take care of it. I like what's coming out of it. So this was our energizer to imagine a different food system. And I can pass it on to Laurence to explain what we're doing here again and why.
Thank you, Kat. Apart from what came to mind of what our food system as a garden would need right now would be relaxed people on a holiday. So I'm the one who put that because we are hopefully soon taking holidays. So going back to our presentation. You're not seeing the right screen. No, it's not. All right, so why did we do this? First, why food? And how do we consider food? We see food as food systems as all of the links of the chain. So we include agriculture when we talk about food systems. We include the production side, as well as all the other aspects: transformation, processing, distribution, transport, consumption, reducing of waste, and promotion of reuse. And all of those links, all of those steps as to the impact they have on the environment and climate. So this is our starting point. Why food? Why now? Food is both part of the problem, big part of the problem of the impact on the environment, on biodiversity and climate change. But it is also part of the solution, as our food initiatives represent, and that's what we wanted to bring up at EU level. So why CLIs? Why community-led initiatives? Why are they relevant to food systems? They are there at every step of the way, from community-supported agriculture, the food basket you might already be a subscriber to food councils showcasing food democracy in cities, to food cooperatives, marketplaces, enabling more direct links between producers and eaters, to collective kitchens, zero waste initiatives, urban community gardens, food forests. Everywhere in the food systems, our members and community-led initiatives showcase how we can transform our food systems in a way that it's beneficial for the environment and our planet. Why now? Why are we doing this policy positioning now? Because food and agriculture are top of the EU agenda, and we want to promote your recommendations to the EU institutions. Earlier in the year, the Commission presented their vision for the future of agriculture and food, and we presented that a few months ago, and you can retrieve the full presentation. But our initial assessment of that is that there are positive points. It recognizes agroecology, which is a first. It recognizes short supply chains and circularity, resilience, and even community-led initiatives and food councils. But on the other hand, it's a bit vague, it's a bit scattered, not much of a vision, but a collection of initiatives. It's still very production focused. There's little role there about the various links of the food chain that we can represent. And innovation is only seen as technology innovation and not social innovation that our movements provide. Still, this is just a plan, so all of the policies that are proposed in there need to be presented. Notably, a review of the Common Agricultural Policy, which is the biggest spending in agriculture. So now I will hand over to Caterina, so she recaps the process we've been through in this past month. I'm going to stop editing so you can present yourself, it's easier. Over to you, Caterina.
Yes, just 1 second. Sorry, just a second. Sorry, I can't, Laurence, could you share, please, because I can't seem to share.
Yes, I can do that.
Sorry.
Here you go.
Thank you. It's really hot where I am. My computer is overheating, so it cannot handle a presentation and Zoom, apparently. So where were we? So as you saw, the vision of agriculture of food. So you understand that there are a lot of people who try to influence these processes, what we call lobbying, which is kind of crucial in EU policy. And this is how usually big corporations or organizations, individuals try to influence it. So it is usually lobbying is usually dominated by corporate actors, but it's also a democratic tool that is open to civil society, like us, civil society organizations, community-led initiatives, the people who are the people who can really influence food to make sustainable policies. So we believe that by organizing and forming this kind of coalitions, we can make our positions visible through evidence, through storytelling, and through direct actions. And we can challenge, we believe we can challenge the corporate lobbying and help shape a different vision for agriculture and food. So if you could move to the next slide. So how are we doing this? We started by opening up a positioning process where we try to establish a shared understanding of what good practices for food systems are. We moved on to a deliberation phase where we discussed in depth what these key themes, what the just sustainable food system could be. And now we're moving on to the consent phase, where we have our overarching themes, we have our sub-asks, and our editorial board, that I will explain later, will consent on the final document that we will present. And moving on to the next slide. So here's an overview of the process. We started last year in December. We moved on and we had the visioning exercise where we imagined what the food systems could be. Then we had in-depth conversations around the key topics. And now we're entering the consent phase, where we will finalize the document with your help as well. And moving on to the next. So how we plan to shape EU level policy. So our goal is to amplify grassroots voices in the EU. So we are drafting a policy document that will be endorsed by members and partners that will outline barriers, opportunities and policy recommendations, which will also be accompanied by a collection of stories from food initiatives that outline best practices and their positive impact on health, environment, and society. And this will initiate a dialogue with policymakers in person in Brussels in November, where we'll have the opportunity also to promote the stories from the food initiatives, from the people who are living them, who are actually putting them to effect, and connect them to policy recommendations. And moving on to the next slide, we'd like to take a moment to thank the people who have supported this. These are the process partners who mean that support this process to be brought forward. As you see, we have a big diversity of different food initiatives around Europe and not only. And you're also welcome to join by signing up in a form that we will send to you. And moving on, we'd also like to thank a very specific group of people called the editorial board, which is a selected members of Ecolise that are engaged in food systems, who were selected through an internal Ecolise process to provide high-level feedback into our deliberation process. And they will be the ones consenting to the launch of the policy position. So passing back to Laurence, who will share a bit about what this content of the policy position is.
Thank you, Kat. So this is the structure we want to have in our final position paper. As Kat explained, we've come up with key themes, key topics from this process that we defined together. We will use these key themes, and for each, start with saying what we believe needs to change, what we want to remain in the past. Then we'll say where we want to go, what do we want to promote, and we will identify some key enablers, policy recommendations to get there. All of that, all of our recommendations and key themes, we will give case studies as examples too, so to make it a bit more real, that it comes from real people and real initiatives, we will showcase some of the great initiatives that have come up in this process. There are many, so it will be hard, and we will find a way to honor all of them. So, we've worked on the 7 building blocks that are familiar to those of you who have been in the past 2 events. Those are the themes we've worked on and deepened in 2 calls to get to where we are today. So where are we today? We are finally presenting some recommendations. 7 of them according to the 7 themes. And we will work on that together in the second part of this event. So the first theme, local community-led food economies, is to express the fact that we would like to seek relocalization of our food economies because this increases resilience. This should also value diversity and small producers specifically. It should be driven by cooperative principles and communities' involvement and promote a multiplicity of new actors along the food chain. And as we go into the breakout rooms later, you will see specific recommendations that link to these key messages. I'm presenting today the main messages we want to bring forward, and then you will be working on the sub-themes and sub-asks we are making in the breakout room. So more to come after that. The second theme, farming with nature, for nature. In this, we want to ask for shifting public support towards farming with nature, for nature, based on the principles of agroecology, the principles of diversity, of practices, seeds, breeds, and local contexts, based on regeneration, circularity, and water management. So there's a lot in there, but what we want to embrace is the diversity and variety of practices that seek to work with nature, to regenerate nature, and really base the future of our food systems on this approach. The third theme focuses on farmers and farming as a profession. We would like it to be more valued, more rewarding, and more supported. We believe this can be transitioned through community involvement, and we want to showcase here community-supported agriculture as an example of holistic farming. We want to support food solidarity, food initiatives. There's so many of them we have identified to this process. And all of this contributes to de-risking the profession, to revaluing the profession of farming, through engaging more people in the sector. That's also a key recommendation we have. More people need to be involved in farming as farmers and as people working around farming, supporting farmers, volunteering, for example, or having holidays spent helping the farm, harvesting together. These things we want to put emphasis on. Because this also shows that farms are much more than places where we produce food. They are centers for community gatherings, centers for inclusion. There's social farming initiatives there. There can be nursing homes in farms as well. There's a lot of new life that can rejuvenate farms. The fourth topic is about education and awareness raising, with the objective to reconnect citizens with the way their food is produced, with nature, with seasons, with locality of the food they eat, to promote regenerative practices. And education about that needs to be done at all levels for farmers, of course, but also throughout the school curriculum for our children, throughout vocational training, and for citizens as well to raise their awareness. And in that sense, farms can be centers for festive community gatherings, reconnecting urban citizens, notably with farms and the way their food is produced. The fifth topic is about research, knowledge, tech, and infrastructure. So it's a big topic, but it's quite important. It's the emphasis that technology should be put at the service of nature and community and people. So we should have open technology, technology that fosters the development of these food initiatives, that focuses also on digital sovereignty. The circle of who creates knowledge should be widened to more people, so beyond researchers, and we should foster participatory research for that objective. The sixth topic is about bridging the urban-rural divide, and that one we believe needs to be really worked on. We need to reconnect cities with their environments first and the way food is produced. We also need to revitalize rural areas, to bring new activity to rural areas, and to reconnect both urbans and rural people. And that, we believe, more research needs to be done in that, in how to do that. And concepts such as bioregioning, for example, or green belts are innovative approaches to how to reconnect citizens living in urban and rural settings. Finally, the last topic we recommend is about food democracy, solidarity economy, and the commons. So we would like to promote the access to healthy and affordable food. We believe food security is an access issue, not a production issue. Food should be made more affordable, healthy food should be made more affordable, and we should enable community-driven transition, because this transition of our food systems will happen with the involvement of people to make things change. Inspiration from the commons can be really useful in how to transition to these new systems, and it should be driven by solidarity economy principles and connected with international movements such as the Nyéléni Forum, because there will only be food sovereignty in the north if there is also food sovereignty in the south. So, in a nutshell, those are the main messages, and we will, after that, look deeper into each topic, and you will be able to select the topic you want to work on. I'm going to stop there. I think, Caterina, it's time for a new Mentimeter, isn't it?
Yes. So now that you've heard a little of everything, it's just a brief intro on what you think is more important. Obviously, we're going to have all 7 of them, but what do you think of what you heard? Which theme do you think is more important? So you can rank based on, I mean, we made a ranking based on the input we received, on the amount of input, on the grouping. So let us know what you think about the numbers. Can you all enter the Menti?
We can explain where people can find it, because it doesn't look like people are in, right?
Are you in? It opens in the Zoom again, and you just press join. Yes, thank you, Manuela. And then you rearrange based on what you think is more important. Okay, so it's working.
Can you put the link in the chat as well? Either Henrik or Caterina? Thank you, Henrik.
Okay, so food democracy has been rising a bit. Number 7 to number 2. We have a competing. And I don't know if everyone had time to rank. But the idea now is that we move in breakout rooms and you read a bit further what these topics are about, because Laurence introduced them, but we have specific asks for each topic that you can read a bit. You can take 5 minutes in breakout rooms to read what we have written. And then what we'd like to ask you is what this means to you. So what does farming with nature for nature mean? So we have small agroecological and diversified farming, but what does this mean in practice? And also the other question we'd like to ask is how we can get there. So do you have any specific policy asks or more detailed policy recommendations that you would like to share with us to add to our policy positioning? So this is our harvesting document that Enrique will share in the chat now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So as you'll see, we have 7 different themes, like the ones Laurence presented, and they all have specific asks. So we're going to invite you to join whichever breakout room you want, whichever topic resonates more with you. Take 5 minutes to read our specific asks and then discuss and answer these questions. So what does it mean, what it brings to mind, and how can we get there? We invite one person per breakout room, or each one writes their own, but we invite you to take notes in this document so that we can keep your recommendations, but you can self-organize around that. And also, you're free to enter the breakout rooms, and you're also free around midtime to switch the breakout room if you want to discuss more than one topic. So you can enter one breakout room and then move on to another one. And if you have any issue with entering a breakout room, you can ask Enrique, who will be in the main room. So do you all have access to the document? And you can just write inside. And then we'll ask you to share a couple of bits from your discussion in the plenary. So that's why it's really good that you take notes. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then it will launch the breakout rooms. And if you need anything, just come back here in the plenary and ask. Do you all see the breakout rooms? Does anyone not see them?
Perhaps you can explain where to see them and how to get in.
It's one pop-up that comes inside Zoom, and you can just select which room you'd like to join.
But I don't think it pops up. That's the thing. So that we need to explain where it is. So for example, for me, it appears in the toolbar as salle de répartition in French. I don't know in English. Breakout room, probably. So if you click on it, then you find them and you can join the one topic you like. Are the people still in the main room hesitating on what room to choose? You're allowed to get out of the meeting room, of the breakout room, and to join another one at any moment as well, huh? Should we choose the topic we know most about or the one we are interested in? There's no rule. Follow what you believe is best. Okay, so we have 3 people in the first room, 5 in the second, 6 now, 3 in the sixth, 4 in the seventh, There's one person on her own in education. So Gisela, the breakout rooms is in the toolbar. You have salle de répartition in French, and I think it's breakout room. It's like a square with 4 squares. And if you click on it, you can find them.
Which room would you like to join, Gisela?
You're muted.
Hear you.
Sorry, the second one. And
Okay, I will join.
Hey, Ruby, can we help you?
I thought I go into the about farming as being a more valued profession. I just thought there perhaps somebody joins me, but nobody joined.
Yeah.
I came back here because
I can join you, Ruby. We can meet there.
oh, all right, okay. So we go back there.
Yes.
All right.
See you in a bit.
Yep.
Henrique, is it possible if you put something in the chat now, does it appear in the breakout rooms as well?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Because I think it's good to share again, because I think like the moment you join breakout rooms, things disappear.
Yes. And what you want to...
I want to share the harvesting document again.
Ah. Okay.
Voilà. Okay, thank you. Bon.
I will pause now the recording.
Farther and deeper. So thank you very much. Now, as usual, I would like to ask participants to share maybe one insight they keep, the key impression insights they keep from their breakout room. So I'm going to be looking for some volunteers. So let's start with breakout room number 1. And I'm seeing you, Vishna. Would you like to volunteer to give a one key insights you get from your discussion?
I'm not the best to. I would suggest Roxana or Jonathan. They were
Maybe
more...
Jonathan, you could start, and I will support you, since I'm in the room with other people.
Yeah, no, I think it was really good to hear like different concrete cases and policy suggestions from other countries to feed into sort of making concrete recommendations. I think that's what we discussed the most. I'm not sure if anything specific I want to bring up, but I learned a lot at least.
Try like one thing that comes to mind.
I would add one thing for me in local and community food economies is supporting intermediaries in terms of people, administration, but also infrastructure, and food hubs are a way to connect producers and farmers. For example, it's a bit the missing link in terms of logistics.
And we also discussed the policy to limit the size of agricultural enterprises, especially in animal agriculture, and then had some concrete examples and discussions about how to achieve that with more concrete policy tools.
Great, and I see you've taken, all of you have taken lots of notes, so thank you for that. All right, the next one would be the one about farming with nature, for nature. Who would like to give some insights from that breakout room, the key insights? Alina, would you like to share your final thoughts, which are quite, inspiring as always.
Well, I can, yes. Well, we've been speaking a lot about smaller farms, organic ways of farming, how organic is the basis for natural farming. And yes, I have gone against that maybe. So it's interesting to also see that the set of regulations that is defining what is organic farming maybe is not that natural, that we can go beyond organic and actually really be adaptive, because regenerative is still not defined and there will never be a final definition, I don't think, because we need to work with context, and each context is asking for this. So subsidies are needed for this transition to work towards different techniques for these smaller farmers. How can we then say that smaller farms are actually gaining traction? There has been talk about how can we measure this, because of course indicators will need to be identified, as in like how do we know we're on the right track? We spoke of carbon. I think there's lots of options there. Erkki also mentioned biodiversity could be an indicator. So it's something that is going to be asking for a lot of people work, I think, people hours. That may be a barrier in this case. The new paradigm, the 2.3, is it an illusion? Maybe eco-literacy, the other point that is on the list, is very important in this case as well. The wording is maybe also needing a brave shift, and although sustainability is still the first word people will understand, I think that regenerative is indeed needed, because we have done so much harm. 10,000 years of plowing is now coming back to us. Water for me, of course, is a big one, so I won't go into that too much. Yeah, I think there's so much to be said in this topic, and it was nice to see some new voices as well today in the room. So we didn't actually get to cutting food waste and promoting circularity at all levels, but I think for me that would also be something that very much falls under eco-literacy, because if people have the notion, then I think it becomes a lot easier to, of course I compost, of course I work as nature and return nutrients after I have extracted them from the soil. So hopefully we can get to a stage where ever more people understand that this is needed, that we are actually mining with our food systems. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alina. So the next one was farming as a profession, and I know it was a small breakout room, but probably a very interesting one.
It was
Ruby or Kat,
actually
would you
an
like to give
interview.
some thoughts?
Yeah, it was actually an interview with Ruby. I don't know, Ruby, would you like to share? No? I can share 3 points that Ruby shared from her experience in Omama. The first one with the first and the most, maybe the most interesting, was the role of farm incubators and how they could help people as a transition process from any other job to farmers by providing them the infrastructure, the knowledge, and the network to transition. The second thing we discussed was the UBI, Universal Basic Income, and how it is not exactly the phrasing that one could use for farmers, but there could be different framings, like the national dividends that Nordic countries have from oil, for example, to kind of and find a way to phrase it between the two, like a support that is not exactly UBI, but something different. In terms of local authorities, what's the gap between local authorities and this kind of initiatives is that when we need to plan there is a level of local organizing, but there is a gap between the local organizing and the local authorities, and there needs to be an open dialogue and also a space for these initiatives to have long-term sustainability that goes beyond projects and like funding from the local authority, but not the funding that will expire in a year or two. I don't know if I did any justice to your ideas, Ruby, if you'd like to add something. Good.
Great, thank you very much. So I think then we jumped a couple of topics, and the next room is the one on bridging the rural-urban divide. Who would like to give us a few insights from that breakout room?
I'm happy to jump in for the group. And if anyone else wants to come in and also share, feel free. So I was in a group with Aranza and Andy, and we were discussing each of the floor notes. And I think a few of the key themes of our discussion, one being the intergenerational aspect when we look at the rural and urban divide and how we can look at sort of knowledge sharing and how we sort of look at revitalizing rural areas, and it's sort of blended in with the other key themes in terms of like farming as a profession and eco-literacy and all that. But and we're also discussing as well what investing in participatory research and what a role universities can play in helping bridging that divide as well, and building a community of practice with local stakeholders in that rural setting as well, and trying to connect the connection to food in like the urban spaces as well. So like organizing educational events for like school students or just normal people that want to understand where their food is coming from. And also trying to maybe subsidize for consumers like organic and local food to make sure that it's always, I know because a lot of consumers think first like what's the most affordable option, so like the government providing a subsidy so that option is always the cheapest, and that they that's what they purchase first. And then Andy also said that we should also add additional tax then to imported food and chemically grown food, so you get the two aspects as well. So yeah, that was just a few things that we discussed.
Thank you very much, Pauline. I think this links very nicely to the last topic on food democracy, solidarity, economy, and the commons, which touched upon some of these topics as well, I'm sure. Who would like to give us a few insights from the last breakout room on food democracy? Ruth Marie, I'm looking at you.
I think I was supposed to do this. We had a lot of interesting talk and a lot of typing, so it's a lot to get an overview of. But what I think was really interesting was the thing about making kind of that the CAP should contain some kind of solidarity food system transition program, some kind of right to local healthy food, that it's which contain grants for food cooperatives, municipality support for local food hubs, and maybe local food councils, so to support the consumers more, and then we need more education for consumers to be able to make local priorities on food, and have tax incentives for community-owned food enterprises, integration of food, now I'm just reading, integration of food policy into broader social justice strategies. Yeah, but this right to food act really sounded to me like something that we could have, I could see happen, that it's that we worked on on all levels, from local councils doing the planning to national level. How do we support this right to food? And then I think you have to read all the exciting things in the document.
Thank you very much. It sounds like you've all added a lot to what we already have and I would really like to wholeheartedly thank you for that. As the next step now is to for us to bring this to take this feedback of today. Then we will share now the public version of the paper. So the points we presented, you saw in the harvesting documents. We will share a public document where over summer you can continue commenting. And we will build upon upon your comments, develop that over summer, and then we will present a final version, including all of that, by the end of the summer. So you will get some time to comment. We will make some changes to what we have prepared for today based on today's feedback already, and a few feedbacks that will come in the coming days. And you are very welcome to share additional feedback on there, to share with your contacts, with colleagues, with the people you know have expertise in these matters or interests, and this is fully public, so you can share it. Let me show you that document. Voilà. So this is the way it looks. This is what we presented today. So the key theme by key themes that are color-coded, and then underneath each theme, the sub-themes we've discussed today. So this is available. You can comment as you wish, and we will take that into account for the very final version of the paper. You have until 24th of August to comment on this. So the final next step we would like to remind you about, for those who have already been there, and to inform you about for those for whom it is the first time with us. We will also have in November a policy event in Brussels in person for once, because we've done this online so far, with an event every month since December. And we will, once we have finalized our policy paper, we will present this in Brussels publicly in early November. The date is soon to be confirmed, and if you have signed up to our policy newsletter, you will get the news from that once we have the save the date officially. Time for me to say thank you. Thank you very much for your contributions again. We're delighted we've presented this to you today, and this is out. And we look forward to fleshing this out with you, to developing this further, to gathering all the case studies and more detailed policy recommendations, so we can bring your voices to the European level. It's time for me to close. Thank you very much. Enjoy the summer if we don't see each other, and take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. See you soon. See some of you soon.
Bye-bye, Roxana.
Sorry, what?
Staying in the bye-bye.
Sorry, it's
Roxana.
finished. I'm sorry, it was
Yeah, the event is over.
I
We're
was
just
signing off.
staying here with the
Thank-
Ecodis team to debrief.
Yeah, sorry. I was still completely in the education table
Great.
where nobody put anything. So
You're
glad
welcome
to see
to.
you. And yeah,
Thank you for your participation. Keep on
you're
coming.
welcome. Good
Bye-bye.
luck with everything. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, it's done. It's been very intense for us, Enrique, the past couple
Yes,
of
I
weeks.
imagine. Yeah.
God, we've been working evenings, nights, weekends on this. It's done. Oh, it was so rich. Catalina, I went from breakout room to breakout room, just to hover and see what was going on, if everything was all right, if people were taking notes. and they were really self-organizing. So that's and you've probably had a look at the document. We have a lot more comments, which is exactly what I hoped. More detailed, So I'm very happy about today. What's your impression?
I loved the interview with Ruby.
Oh yeah, I bet she's great. I love Ruby. I mean, she's so to the point. So like anything she says is so intense somehow, like so intensely right and rich. Good that you joined that room.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It
it's
was
an important topic. Thanks for taking the initiative. And then after like going from one room to the other, I stayed in the nature in the nature one because that's my favorite topic, and the other ones they had they had there was Jessica in one, Pauline in another, so they were taking notes, so that was fine, And though in the nature one, then Teya was taking notes, so I was like, okay, I'm going to take over. So
This is awesome self-organizing.
yeah. But then she had to leave, so it was a good moment for me to offer to take notes. Yeah, so it's really cool. I'm happy. And now, Kat, I realize as I was presenting the the paper to comment, then I